Hello there everyone, how you doing today? We're going into r/malicious compliance, where the revenge is best gotten by, doing exactly what your boss asks, and let them dig their own grave. If you enjoy, remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Now without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Boss said I must use my vacation before the month's end, but also no one can take time off, so I read the policy. Company sends a shiny HR email. Subject line, all caps, use it or lose it. We had to burn our remaining PTO by the 30th or it evaporates into the sun. Same day, my manager announces in stand-up that due to quarter end, no one can take time off until the 1st. I asked how to reconcile that, and he shrugs and says talks to HR. HR says talk to your manager. Cute loop you got there. So I opened the handbook because I am a little petty librarian when annoyed. Page 14 has this little sentence I never noticed. PTO requests not explicitly denied in writing within 48 business hours are considered approved. There is also a note that partial day PTO is allowed in 1-hour blocks. Why, thank you, legal team! I submitted 10 separate requests. 2 hours every morning next week, 2 hours every afternoon in the week after, a random Friday, 3 to 5 to watch a plumber, and 1 full day to visit my mom. I sent the requests in our HR portal, which auto-emails the manager and CCs a shared mailbox. Nobody watches. Then I went back to my tasks and the set reminders. 48 business hours pass and there was no denial. The portal changes each request to approved with a green check mark. Confetti! Monday comes and at 9:58 I put a cheerful note in the team chat. Wow, I said that wrong. Team chat. Heading out. See you all at noon. The manager pings me to hop on a client call. I reply with a screenshot of the policy and the portal approval. There was silence. Then there was 3 dots typing, and then there was nothing. By Wednesday, our calendar looked like cheese. Half the team remembered they also had PTO sitting around and started filling it in little blocks. Meetings kept colliding with the green bars. Finance realized that if they did not use the days now, they would be paid out at separation later, which they hate. HR wrote a new post saying we should coordinate, but that approval already granted stand. My manager called a huddle to ask why productivity dropped. I said, we're following HR's instruction to use PTO. He said it meant in November, and then I sent him the original email timestamped this month. He sighed and said he never thought anyone would actually read the handbook. I used every hour, took my mom to lunch, and my plumber fixed the accursed sink at 3:40 while I drank nice calming tea. Next week, a new policy appeared. PTO must be requested in full day increments during quarter end, and managers must respond in 24 hours. Why, thank you for clarifying. Truly, truly. Rude client wasted almost an hour to hear the same info I already told her from a different employee. My first post here, not sure if it fits better here or at Petty Revenge, but anyways. Some years ago, I worked at a bank office, not in the US. I was mediocre at sales, but good at service and process conditions, pricing, and so on. So I was put at the administrator position, not a manager one. My job was to meet incoming clients and help them solve their problems, by helping them with the ATM or the mobile app, by navigating them to the right specialist via electronic queue and so on. So there was this woman, let's call her Customer in bold. She came to the office and asked for money withdrawal. I recommended her to use the ATM and she told me she already used it, but can withdraw more due to the daily limit. I asked how much she wanted to withdraw. It was 600,000 of the local currency, and replied that due to bank policy to withdraw that amount of money via cashier, she needed to order it 5 days in advance for safety reasons, and the only amount we can give her today is 150,000 without the fee, and 300,000 with a 2.5% fee, but she can use the ATM tomorrow and withdraw all her needed amount with no fees, because the daily limit will refresh. She wasn't happy, and I can understand this, but then she started being rude and unreasonable.
I need to talk with more experienced employers. Do you mean I can't withdraw my money? It's a bank.
They will tell you the same thing. It's a bank policy. Fastest and cheapest way for you to withdraw the needed amount is to use the ATM the next day. Technically after midnight if it's somehow urgent.
No, I don't want to talk with you. You're just some newbie. Give me the queue number and I'll talk with the proper bank worker.
Now, it's worth noting that I was the most experienced employee in the office in terms of operational work, including the manager, so I giggled inside. But that was her clear will, so I gave her the number and moved on. 20 minutes later, it was a busy evening, her number was called to the desk and she started asking the same questions from a new girl who worked around 1 month at this point. Let's name the girl Eve. She wasn't familiar enough with everything, so she started casual identification procedure by checking the client ID in the UV, searching for the client profile in the database, sending her SMS code to approve entering profile, so on. And around 5 minutes more were gone. Then Eve asked what the operation lady wanted to do, and the lady repeated her question. And Eve tried to start withdrawal and noticed she can't move more than $450,000 and that there's a fee. And what do you think she did? She called me to help. I walked around the desk and asked Eve what happened. Look, customer wants to withdraw $600,000 and I can't type more than $450,000 and there's a fee. I'm sorry, I can't help here. Client insisted to have more experienced employee to answer their questions, and I left back to my workplace. After that, there was some banter between customer and poor Eve, trying to explain the same stuff while I typed everything to her in the work chat. Then she gave up and offered customer to talk with the manager if she's unhappy. She waited 20 more minutes for the manager and heard the same info I told her. 50 minutes of her valuable time, and Eve repeated 20 minutes ago. Today she can have $150K for free and $300K for more fees, and after midnight she can have $600K with no fees via the ATM. And in case of big withdrawals in the future, she needed to order cash in advance. Customer left furiously, not looking at me. TLDR, bank customer wasn't happy with my consultation, telling me that I'm nobody, and then lost 50 minutes of her life to hear the same answer twice. I was told to document every single noise complaint, so I did. I live in student housing in Uplaza, old building, thin walls, you know how it is. My upstairs neighbor complained about me twice last month. Once because I was vacuuming too late at 8 p.m. on a Saturday, and once because my friend and I were talking in the kitchen at like 10:30 p.m. on a weeknight. Both times the building manager knocked on my door the next day, very serious about it. Told me the quiet hours are 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., and I need to be more considerate even outside those hours. I tried to explain that 8 p.m. on a weekend seems reasonable for vacuuming, and that we were literally just having a conversation at normal volume. He said it doesn't matter, if somebody complains he has to follow up, and maybe I should examine my lifestyle choices. Okay, so this annoyed me because my upstairs neighbor is not quiet at all. I hear furniture dragging around at midnight, loud TV, footsteps constantly, bass from the music, but I figured that's apartment living and never said anything. The building manager said if I have concerns, I should document them. Every incident, date and time, description of the noise, then he can address the pattern. So I did. For 3 weeks, I wrote down every single noise I heard from upstairs. Footsteps at 6:45 a.m., TV volume at 11:15 p.m., chair scraping at 1:30 a.m., shower running at 6:20 a.m., footsteps at 7:10 a.m., footsteps at 9:40 p.m., footsteps at 11:55 p.m. I had 4 pages of documentation. Times, dates, type of noise, duration, and when I could estimate it. I gave it to the building manager last week and he looked at it for a while and then said something like, "This is excessive and normal living noises aren't violations." I said, "Sure, but you told me to document concerns, so I did." He said, legitimate disturbances, not someone walking in their own apartment. But here's the thing. he still had to give me the list of upstairs neighbor per building policy once a formal complaint is filed, which apparently my 4-page document counted as. My upstairs neighbor left a note under my door yesterday. She's a PhD student, works weird hours because of lab access times. She said she made the list made her cry because she's
Trying her best.
and didn't realize I could hear normal footsteps. Now she's apparently walking around in socks only and feeling anxious in her own apartment. I feel like absolute shit because of this. I wasn't trying to make someone anxious. I was trying to show the building manager that his standards were ridiculous. He sent an email to both of us about community living expectations and mutual respect, which solved nothing. Reach out to her, probably via the building manager, to say that the noises are not particularly bothersome, but that you hope she realizes how minor noises carry, and so you hope she'll be more understanding with the occasional noise coming from your unit. Realistically, you didn't do anything wrong, and it is somehow ludicrous that the building manager would have to present the entire list to her. Of course, I don't understand at all why a complaint about vacuuming at 8 p.m. would even be counted, but that just sounds weird. Don't touch my garbage. Hey all, friendly neighborhood trash panda here, the giant kind, not the bandit kind. It'll make sense in a minute. For backstory, I work as a sanitation engineer with a primary focus on residential communities. I'm a garbage collector for houses. See, it makes sense now. Our collection is handled automatically. Our trucks have a hydraulic grabber that we control from inside the cab to grab carts and dump them into the truck. We generally do not need to get out of the truck. We're not manually lifting and tossing garbage. It's a pretty easy gig. From what most people don't realize is the rules for garbage collection, and that there are a lot of rules based on homeowners and residents. What materials are acceptable, size limitations, if your garbage bin isn't fully closed, and a big one is bin placement. All bins need to be 1 meter away from basically anything else. Parked vehicles, other bins. This is to ensure ease of using the hydraulics to grab the bins, and also to prevent possible damage like scraping someone's car or busting a headlight or something like that. Generally, this isn't an issue. A bit of practice, you get good at grabbing bins even if they're parked right beside each other. Or we'll just hop out of our truck, move the bin a little so it's easy to grab, and then move it back. Reasoning for this is, 1, we're not a-holes, and it's just a nice neighborly thing to do since me and most of my colleagues live in the same community and work, and 2, it's just a lot of paperwork for us to fill out most violations, so it's significantly easier to just take the 30 seconds to move the bin than the 5 minutes to do all the paperwork to issue a violation ticket. So the story. We service a community that does both garbage and recycling on the same day. 2 bins, 2 trucks, 2 drivers. Most residents will put both bins side by side, touching each other, which is a violation. So what we'll do is whichever truck gets to the second driver has an easier time grabbing it. It saves some time for us and makes things run smoother, and we don't get complaints from people. Well, until we do at least. A resident complained that we're moving her bins, and word for word travel to the higher-ups. Myself and colleague got disciplined, instructed to place the bins back exactly where we got them from, and that we were monitored via our dash cams for a few weeks to ensure compliance. And our supervisor would take a trip out to the specific resident who complained after our shift to ensure the bins were not moved. Not appreciating being disciplined so severely because some fat cow had to take 2 extra steps to get one of her bins, we complied to the letter with her request. Unfortunately for her, she had a habit of placing her bins side by side, which is, you guessed it, a spacing violation! So for 2 months, every week we would get to a residence. Bins are side by side, so we can't grab them due to not enough space, so we fill out the paperwork for a violation and place the violation ticket on her bins, and not dump her bins. She finally got the hint after about 2 months and started spacing her bins about 3 feet apart, and never complained about us moving her bins again. She also had to pay several small fees for extra buildup, since by the time she'd figured it out, she had several bins full of garbage, and regulations are 1 bin dump per resident. Anything extra is a not insignificant fee per extra bag. So that's how we got one over on a Karen. that's the end of today's video. If you all enjoyed the stories I had for you, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check out either my Reddit story playlist or my horror story playlist. We got a little bit of each. So I will see you all next time. Bye bye.